with a uniform haircut all over her head. After I'm done cutting just a plain uniform haircut, I'm going to go in around the perimeter and tighten it up or whatever I need to do to make it more fun. In the middle of her head on the top, I'm going to part an inch. And that's where I'm going to start cutting. This is going to be my beginning guideline. I'm going to use my 6-inch Bonikas because this is a lot of hair and I want to cut a lot off at one time. These aren't my fat ones, these are just my 6-inchers. I'm going to look for where her bang ends. Her bang ends about right here. So that is going to be my guide. I'm holding it straight out from the head. Look at my guideline over here. I'll cut it off. Right up from the head. Now what I'm going to do is just pick up another piece, a little bit back further so I can get a longer guideline. Just an old-fashioned uniform haircut, the one you pass state boards with. Another one, I'm going to take sections and pull them up until her head starts rounding, and then I'm going to start picking it up in a different direction. Straight up, find my guide, and there she is. What I'm going to do is go down the back of her head and start forming my guideline, or form a guideline for the back of her head from here, because I'm not going to do this uniform down here. I'll probably do uniform about halfway down. When it gets to the occipital bone, I'm probably going to tilt my hands in about 45 degrees to a 45-degree angle or less to get it tight down there, or tighter than a uniform haircut would give. So I'm going to take a little bit of my hair from the front as a guide and take one strip down the back, right straight out from the head. Cut it off and get it all the way down. This is straight out from the head. Pick up a little section. And now I'm going to start angling in toward the nape. Another section and angle in even more. And if you can see that I'm pointing my fingers on an angle, that tells me where to take the hair off. I have to pick this up a little bit different because her shoulder's in my way. Just a little bit I've got it out. I'm going to get it. And we'll fine tune this later on. But you can see right now the difference. Right here, that it's a little bit closer. I want this to be even tighter than that, but I'll do that later on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all around her head, starting from these little pie shapes like I did with the other haircut. Starting in the front, I'm just going to take off uniform, straight up from the head. Since this is going to be a short haircut, I'm not going to drop this out because I want this to be pretty short. And I don't want a blunt line. So right here, I'm going to take it right from the perimeter. Now I'm just going to go back one more section, pull it straight out from the head. And this is where it gets real simple. All my guidelines are in there, and all I'm doing now, all around the whole head, is I'm just going to be pulling it straight out from the head. Now, when you get done with the uniform haircut, you know, it doesn't look like a uniform haircut because of the curvature of the head. But if we measure it on our measuring comb 4 inches and 4 inches, that's a uniform cut. But because her head is, you know, it's closer in here, the shape of her head, it's going to appear to be shorter. Now I'm going to pick up my twisters. Now these are so wonderful because now I don't have to pick it up upside down. I'm just going to turn my shears. I'm going to have some fun with this haircut. I'm going to use something that I purchased from Bonika Shears called a do-whacker razor. It's a regular razor, but it has 4 different guards on it. This is a guard that has very few teeth on it, so it takes out a lot of hair. And for these kind of haircuts, and for soft edges, it's great. I want her to be shorter in the crown area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick up. I don't want her to be uniformly short. I want her to have short, long, short, long, short, long pieces. So I'm going to pick up a section of hair, and I'm just going to take this little do-whacker and just take that much hair off. And I'll show you the results when I get this other side done. The beauty of this is she still has her length, her uniform length. Can you see all these little pieces falling? Those little pieces are going to sprig up and push the long pieces, so that if she wants to, she can just put a little gel on these and pump them up and make them look real cute. Or she can just smooth them down into the rest of her hair. I'm going to do, and I have done whole haircuts with this razor, and it's fabulous. People get scared. The first time you do this, they kind of get scared, and you just rip it off. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up her crown with all of her frontal hair in it. I'm going to take my whisper shears and cut that off, and use these instead of chipping into it. I love these because the teeth on them are slanted, so it gives a really nice effect. Also pull it up on the sides. This is blending. So you can see that this is my shortest point right here. Because I pulled it all back in that one swoop. It's shorter at the crown, and it goes to long and then to short. So this right here, right in the middle, between your bang and your crown, is the longest part, the heaviest part. And that's what I want to create, a long, heavy bang that kind of pushes forward to make this haircut unique, beautiful, updated. I'm going to take her hair, and this is a real fun thing to do. I'm going to push all of her hair to the other side of her head, and I'm going to make her some nice little wispies. I'm just going to go right to the scalp and cut that off. This is where the client goes, ah! But when we're done, we have a fabulous little airy bit of hair on the sides of her face. Now I'm going to use that underneath hair as a guide. These are 2 finger, there are 3 thumb and 2 finger shears. These are good for control. I like to use these when I want a lot of control. I'm going to part from the middle of the head, the crown, to the top of the ear. I'm going to find the shortest piece of that little cut that I did. I'm going to bring a small section down, find that little piece underneath. I'm going to take it right straight out from the head and cut that right off. The next section down. I'm not going to pick this one up quite at the same angle. I'm going to leave this one at about a 45-degree angle. And what I want you to realize that I'm doing is I'm designing this haircut for her head shape and for her hair and for what I have to work with. Get it in my mind, what I want to do to her. And sometimes when you get into the haircut, it doesn't cooperate. Hers is doing beautiful. Take another section. 45 again. I'm not going to go into her front because I want to leave those bangs. Clean it up ever so slightly. Now I'm going to do the other side. I need to get these joined. This is pretty short on the side, and it's kind of long in the back still. So I need to have those joined. I need the front and the back to join better. So what I'm going to just do, I'm going to pick this up horizontally and find where that needs to be done. Can you see that? Here's the start of the back to the front, and I've just blended the back into the front because I do think I want to keep some of this bulk back here, but it needs to flow. If it doesn't blend, you get a lump in the hair. Okay, now I'm just going to go into my back and make sure that it's as tight as I want down here in the nape. I'm going to use my dew-whacker again because I don't want to take all the hair away. I do want to reduce the bulk in it. Take some hair out of there. Take some bulk. And it's also going to soften that edge. I'll finish this dry. We're going to go and blow her out and round brush her a little bit. Maybe we'll even flat iron her a little bit. And we'll come back and show you the final result. And we'll also probably do some more fine tuning to it. Okay, we have Tommy here. She's all blown out. And I'm going to tweak her a little bit, lighten up some of the areas where it's still a little bit blunt looking and puffy. This is looking too much like a wedge tease, so we're going to lighten that up. You know how hard it is to get out a blunt line. Well, I'm going to work at this. So I don't want to cut too much of it off and take a thinning shear or something and make it too sparse. I'm just going to do this little slithering thing. And I can see already it's working. Just to take this blunt, one length look away because she's really not one length. Doing a little point cutting just to soften it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now remember when I took that little bit out here, pulled it all back and got some layers in there, or some interior layers? It's just laying too flat for me right now. I want to be able to have her have fun with this. And get some little spikes up there, if she chooses to, like just some little wisps. So I'm just going to cut a few more of those in here. There we go. And now I'm going to take my big choppers. I just want some hair to be wispy and light in this area here. Can you see how that, I'm taking a lot of hair off of her. She has a lot of hair. Can you see how much softer that is? It's still the line, but it's a much softer line. Ah, this is what I was looking for, these little stubby things up here. Now don't tell me that your little lady that golfs all day long would love this little haircut. And all her friends would be asking her where she gets her hair done. Now I'm going to take her bangs a little bit shorter, and I'm going to use my dew-whacker. I'm going to take a little bit at a time, and I don't want to get them too short, but I don't want them to bother her. So I'm going to start at, I'm going to take out from about her eyebrow down. These are going to be very light and airy bangs. Now you can see, I'm going to go into her side a little bit, because she's a little bulky. And when I get this to, I want it to look kind of like a veil, and when I get it to the right density, then I'll go in and take out length. And I use this little dew-whacker so much. You can see she's going to be a bit shorter, a little bit shorter, but it's a fun bang. It's not a straight across bang. Now, if I were to use her in a photo shoot for a magazine for a short haircut, I would leave her bangs like this and let those little long ones just float over her eyes, and that would be a great shot. But you know she's not going to be able to work with little kids with those little strings hanging there. So I'm going to continue to just take the ends off. I'm going to use my same razor, my dew-whacker, because I don't want to get a blunt look. But I'm just taking the tips off. I'm going to take my curved scissors and just nip the long ones off. Going right straight into it, but since the blades are curved, it's not making a straight line. Since I lightened it up so much in the front, I'm going to balance it out by taking a little bit more out in the back here. Using my dew whacker. And it just keeps looking better and better all the time. And there she is.